another video. In today's video, we have our Club World Cup final match preview. Yeah, I'm really nervous for this fixture. Obviously, Chelsea have the opportunity to dethrone the European champions, the best team in the world, in PSG tomorrow at 2 p.m., 3 p.m., wherever you are, maybe 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. in the UK. Yeah, we have the chance to do it. We have the chance to be the champions of the world, not even just the champions of Europe, and be the first team to ever win this edition of the Club World Cup, which I think is fitting, because that means we've truly won it all. Yes, we have won the Club World Cup before, but now it's known as the Intercontinental Cup, and this is a brand new competition. So, yeah, really big game tomorrow. Really big final that opens the door for us, and allows us to have the Club World Cup winners badge on our chest for 4 years straight, which I think is a great opportunity, a great marketing opportunity too. Makes the jersey 10 times more appealing. So yeah, it's a huge game tomorrow. I can't express how nervous I am, but an excited nervous, not just nervous that we're gonna lose. I think an excited nervous that we have the possibility of giving them a game. If we know how to break them down, if Maresca sets us up right, then we'll have the opportunity to bring the game to PSG and potentially beat them. As I talked about in my previous video that y'all loved, that's over 5,000 views and 100 likes and got me like 70 subs or so. So yeah, thank you so much for the support on that video. I can't thank y'all enough. We hit 100 subs and we hit 150 subs, so thank you for the support. I'll definitely try to do something special for y'all in the near future. I have family over, so it's pretty difficult to record at times of the day, but I found a little window where I'm able to record this match preview, so let's just jump right into it. Oh, if it allows me to. There we go. Alright, we're going to talk about how PSG got to the final. Obviously beat Atletico Madrid 4-0 in the first match day, but then lost to Botafogo. I know in the last video I said that PSG haven't lost since they lost to Strasbourg, but that's not true. They did lose to Botafogo in the Club World Cup group stage. I was just thinking about when they lost last in Europe, which was against Strasbourg, but yeah, they did lose to Botafogo in the Club World Cup. I just completely forgot about that in the video, so that is my mistake. And then beat Seattle Sounders 2-0 to go to the round of 16, which saw them on the opposite side of our bracket. We could have played them in the quarterfinal if we topped our group and they topped their group, but that just didn't happen. PSG did end up topping their group, but we ended up not topping our group. We ended up second in our group. But yeah, it saw PSG on the opposite side of the bracket as us, and they played Inter Miami in the round of 16, won 4-0. In the quarterfinal, and got 2 red cards in that game when they were up 1-0, and ended up scoring at the very end of the game to make it 2-0 against Bayern Munich. But Bayern Munich did show the blueprint of how to beat PSG, taking the game to them rather than just defending and sitting back. If you want to know how to beat PSG, you just watch that full 90. Lucas Hernandez and William Pacho both got red cards in that game. Anthony Taylor did try his best to give it to Bayern Munich, but PSG were just too much for them and scored with 9 men on the pitch, which was pretty incredible, which saw them go through to the semifinal against Real Madrid, where they won 4-0. Madrid just, I don't even know. They didn't know how to defend. They didn't know how to do anything. And PSG took advantage of their 2 mistakes early on in the game to go 2-0 up within 10 minutes, and then saw them scored 2 more times, Gonzalo Ramos, and I don't know who the third was, but I know Fabian Ruiz scored 2, and someone else scored. I just don't recall, which saw them go to the final against us. Okay, my recording accidentally paused, so I don't know exactly where it left off, but we're just going to say how Chelsea got to the final. I'm assuming that y'all saw how PSG got to the final. If you didn't, last thing I'll say is PSG beat Real Madrid 4-0. But yeah, how Chelsea got to the final: cruise control against LAFC, won 2-0. Enzo Fernandez scored, as well as Pedro Neto. Looked pretty tired, looked pretty jet lagged in that game. Against Flamengo, we went up 1-0 thanks to Pedro Neto, but then Flamengo scored 2 goals back to back, and then Jackson got a red card. Flamengo scored straight after that to lose 3-1, putting us second in the group, where it was a must-win game against S. Tunis, where Tosinado Abayo, Liam Delap, and Tyreek George scored. We pretty much just had too much physicality for them. We're too advanced tactically for them to handle, which saw us exit the group stage second in the group to the round of 16 after beating S. Tunis 3-0, where we played that historic match against Benfica that lasted like 5 hours, where we won 4-1. 1-0 up until the 85th minute. When that weather delay happened, we come back. Benfica get a penalty that wasn't a penalty as it hits Malagusto's hand. Angel Di Maria scores, then Christopher Nkunku gets the winner, puts us up 2-1, and then Neto and KDH scored shortly after to make it 4-1, which sent us to the quarterfinal, where Chelsea beat Palmeiras 2-1. Cole Palmer scored pretty early on. Esteval scored for Palmeiras, and then we had a Weverton own goal, which was a Malagusto cross that got deflected and then hit off the goalkeeper's bicep into the net, to send us through to the semifinal after beating Palmeiras 2-1. We beat Fluminense 2-0, but could have been 6-0 in that game. Really, really good result. Played very well in that match. Yeah. João Pedro scored both those goals. He had an absolute screamer outside the box, and then he had an absolute screamer inside the box. Absolute rockets. First one was more finesse, placed into the outside corner. It was a banger, and then the second one was a banger off the woodwork, to put us through to the final after beating Fluminense 2-0, which very well, again, could have been 4-0 if, Thiago Silva just didn't do Thiago Silva things. Yeah, but that sent us through to the final, where we play PSG, which is what we have tomorrow at 2 p.m., as you can see on that little snip. But moving on, we can look at PSG's injuries as well as their suspensions. Both players that got red carded in the match against Bayern Munich, William Pacho and Lucas Hernandez, are unavailable for selection tomorrow. Yeah, it was a 2-game suspension, so they weren't able to play against Real Madrid, and now they're not going to be able to play against us in the final, which means we're most likely going to see Beraldo start at that left center back position for PSG, and obviously Marquinhos at the right center half position. These were their 2 backup left center backs, and then Beraldo was their 3rd choice. So, hopefully there's an opportunity there that we can take advantage of. But Beraldo is not too bad of a player, but obviously not as good as a William Pacho, who's their starter, who's one of the best left center backs in world football. Very underrated, I think. I think Marquinhos gets a lot of the light shined on him. But William Pacho is unavailable, so that's a very big plus for Chelsea to try to exploit that, as well as Lucas Hernandez, who is the 2nd choice left center back. So yeah, that leaves PSG with a little hole in their defense, but again, Beraldo is tidy enough to step in and do a role for 1 game. But hopefully he is someone that we can exploit. In terms of Chelsea, our only injury is Romeo Lavia. We have no one suspended. I don't know if Lavia is training today. Hopefully there's some photos today of him training. I think he's questionable going into tomorrow. I think we did take precautionary measure with him. So yeah, he might play tomorrow. I'd put a questionable or doubtful tag on him, because he's not fully injured. Like, he's definitely going to be back for the start of the season. But I don't know if he'll be back in time for the game tomorrow. He very well could be. Obviously they're training behind closed doors today, so we have no real indicator if Romeo Lavia is fit or not. Hopefully there's some news that comes out or a training photo that shows Romeo Lavia is in training, which means that he'd be available for selection tomorrow. But as I know of right now, he hasn't trained in the last 2 days. So that's why I put him on the injury list, because obviously he did something to a muscle and missed out against Palmeiras as well as Fluminense. But he very well could be available for tomorrow. But as of now, he's in the injury category. But not, completely unavailable for selection. I'd say he's questionable to be in the squad or not. Not fully injured and fully ruled out yet, but I'd say he's leaning towards being ruled out, so that's why he is in here, which is a massive hit to our midfield, obviously. Just in my video that y'all loved, again, that I talked about in the intro, I put Romeo Lavia in a midfield with Caicedo and Enzo, and then a front 3. But he might be unavailable for selection, which means that I had to change my lineup, which is what y'all are about to see right now. This is my Chelsea lineup for tomorrow. As you can see, that back line is the same. The only thing that changed is I put Liam Delap in the starting side. Robert Sanchez in goal. Cucurella and Reece James going to need to do big things tomorrow, as well as Colwell and Chalobah. Yeah, they need to be critical tomorrow in taking the game to PSG, as well as Caicedo destroying that midfield. Enzo and Palmer need big creative moments in the game tomorrow as well. João Pedro and Neto. that sounded weird, sorry. It's João Pedro and Pedro Neto. There we go. Need to be dynamic off those wings. Obviously, we don't have Madueke to play the wing anymore. He's already traveled to England to join Arsenal. And he's a very direct winger. I think he could have been decent for us tomorrow in that game, but obviously he's not playing for us anymore. He's an Arsenal player, so go figures. I don't know why he wouldn't want to stay to play a final, but not gonna question it. Yeah, João Pedro plays on that left wing due to lack of selection, and then Pedro Neto plays on that right. Another thing we can see is Enzo playing right here and Andre Santos playing right here, and then Palmer here, Neto here, and Pedro up here. Um, but I think we need physicality, and I know Andre Santos brings that, but I think Liam Delap could do that up top as well. So, yeah, that's why I went with this for my Chelsea lineup. Yeah, I think it's a little controversial. You could obviously go three-man midfield and put Palmer out to the wing, and Neto out to the other wing with João Pedro up top if you don't want Delap playing. But I think this is something Risk is going to go with tomorrow because I think he sees João Pedro as, a hybrid player that can play the left wing or the striker position. So, if we need a left winger tomorrow, I think he's going to put João Pedro there so Pedro Neto can play in his preferred spot and Cole Palmer can play in his preferred spot as well. But yeah, you could always see Enzo in that 10, Palmer on the left wing, playing in that pocket with Cucurella, and then João Pedro taking the lab spot and Santos going to the number 8 spot. But this is what my favorite lineup is for tomorrow. If Romeo Lavia isn't fit, if Romeo Lavia is fit, put Cole Palmer out on that left wing, João Pedro up top, Enzo to the 10, and then Lavia to the 8. But yeah, this is a lineup that hopefully does it against PSG. The reason I went with Chalobah, again, I feel like he's pacier than Tossin is, so that's the reason for that selection there. I'd very well have Tossin in that lineup though if he's there. He's a very reliable center half as well as Chalobah, but I think Chalobah just has a little bit more pace, and I think at that center half, PSG run with the ball a lot. They're very dynamic and very clinical, so I'd want someone that has the pace to kind of track back and defend at the times that we need to defend. But yeah, this is my Chelsea lineup for tomorrow, so let's just get into the score prediction, where I'm gonna regret this, but I predicted us to win 3-2. I'm never gonna predict a Chelsea loss in a final. We're the underdogs, and that's when we thrive. The team's mentality throughout the week has been great. So, hopefully there's a result to be had tomorrow, and I said we win 3-2. I think PSG get a goal from Kvaratskhelia as well as Dembele, and Chelsea get 2 goals from Palmer and then a goal from Enzo to wrap up this 24-25 season and win a double, which I don't think anyone anticipated going into it, but I think we'd all be thrilled with that. So yeah, Chelsea win 3-2 tomorrow. Yeah, I might regret this thinking about it, but I'm not thinking. I'm putting that score with my gut, and I'm trusting my gut. So yeah, Chelsea win 3-2 tomorrow in a very up and down final. We go up 2-0, PSG come back, make it 2-2, and then we seal it 3-2 and end up winning. So yeah, that's what I predict. Yeah, if you have any other lineup suggestions or you have your own score prediction, leave that in the comment section. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, it's Repulse, and I'm out. Thanks again for watching, and thanks again for the massive amount of support you showed this channel over the last couple days. So yeah, again, it's Repulse, and I'm out. Peace.